The most gracious, most merciful one within the storms will weather. He's my dad and I love him. With him I have no fear. Because anytime I need him, I know Daddy's right here. Daddy's right here. Daddy's right here. So yeah, let's go ahead and get right to it. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Daddy's Right Here live. The music is also mine, written, produced, mixed, mastered. You can find it on any of your favorite music streaming platforms, any of them. All you got to do is type in Sabir Alim, and you can find all the music that I've put out. But welcome to another episode of Daddy's Right Here Live, man. It's a lot always to talk about. Um the biggest focus for me has always been when I made the decision to come out of that crazy life and start living a life of righteousness, not self righteousness, but standing aright, chest up, chin up, chest out, and taking responsibility for a future and past. See, because you decide that you want to move on from things doesn't mean that everybody else is prepared or wants to move on. You understand? So the days of saying, well, I did this and I did that. Yeah, I know I did all this, but I ain't doing this now. Don't nobody want to hear that, man. Nobody wants to hear that. It's old. It's weak. There's no accountability in that. It's actually a diversionary tactic for taking ownership for what you should have been doing anyway, or what you shouldn't have been doing. So if you still have that response to people around you who say all these things about what you did, they still feel that, man. They still feel that. So there was a place they held for you in their hearts, in their minds, in their spirit. And you violated that. And it's your responsibility to fix it. It's your responsibility to fix it. I don't care who didn't agree with who in any situation. There's always a role of yours that you should be looking at. Whether you were the instigator, the provoker, or even if you sat silent and was complicit, right? You still have a role. And a lot of this comes from a lack of good, effective communication. And everybody's not equipped to do that. A lot of the things that we expect from people, they are incapable of. But who wants to be told they're incapable of doing something? Who wants to be told you don't listen? Who wants to be told that you can't express yourself without being aggressive? You're always being aggressive. You never want to listen. It's always about you. Who really wants to be told those things? Who opens up their arms and say, yeah, tell me more. Tell me more. Who does that? You have to start looking at how you affect everybody around you and stop rationalizing and justifying your actions. There are people out there who will actually victimize you and then blame you for being victimized. Yeah, those are the people who don't want to take accountability. There are people who will push the envelope and push the envelope and push the envelope, and you just take it on the chin over and over. You just eat it over and over again. And then when you clap back, oh, now they're offended. Now they're offended because of your response to their behavior. Now you're wrong. And how many of us jump on the bandwagon of, uh, yeah, I didn't have to be so harsh on her. Yeah, I could have. No, you have to look at all the patience you put into not clapping back and allowing that to go through whatever process, probably hoping it was going to change, it was going to get better. But how you meet me, how you see me today sitting here on your screen is how you will see me anytime, any and every time. I'm not one of those wishy-washy kind of dudes. Either I mess with you or I don't. If I have to, you're going to be respected. If you disrespect me, I'm going to check it and I'm going to move on. End of story. And as a result of living that way, I haven't had a physical confrontation with anyone since 1977. Right? Far from being some gangster or tough guy. None of those things. Don't claim none of those things. I can be pretty surgical with my hands, even at 65, if need be. But I've never had those kind of issues. I've never had those kind of issues. I don't have people approaching me like that. I don't approach people like that. I just don't. Excuse me, brother. Hey, I just want to get over it. Like, can I get in there for a minute, brother? Thanks. You know, all that old rah rah stuff. I ain't doing none of that. And we have a lot of that goes on. We have a lot of that goes on, and we don't want to check ourselves. We don't want to check ourselves. We want to check the other person, right? Because that's the easy part. It's easy to check somebody else's behavior, but you know yourself. But you don't want to address yourself because you want to rationalize and justify why you are that way. And it's just wrong. But you won't look at your own track record, your own failures along the way. How many good men, how many good women have you lost as a result of you not wanting to be held accountable for your bad behavior? Think about it. Just think about it for a minute. For 1 minute. I haven't had a physical confrontation since 1977. I've been in the street. And even in being in the street, I didn't have that problem. You mind yours, I mind mine. It's simple, simple math. But it's not adding up in the streets today. It's not adding up in relationships. Mother and father, son and daughter, children with their parents, period. Husband and wife. It's not adding up. Because oftentimes what happens is you're doing division, I'm doing geometry. Way different. But that's what life is. And we have to understand that. We expect for a man to act the way you perceive a man, not the way I was conditioned to be a man, right? Or how society has pigeonholed me into how I should be a man, or how the Bible, Quran, or any other book has said this is what a man is. So you pigeonhole people into these spaces, and if you don't act this way, you are against right living. So there's a lot of things to contend with. But there's a right way to hold people accountable. without having to be disrespectful. Because accountability, whether it's in your relationship, at home with your spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, in the workplace, it's the same across the board. This particular article here from Psychology Today focuses on the job environment, the work environment. But the work environment includes people. This is not an article for AI because AI will be telling you. But AI can only tell what it's been given. AI has no life of its own, but it's been fed information. Therefore, its response is going to be automated. But I like to educate people, which I have through 30 years of my career as a clinician. I like to educate people on what things mean, what things look like to move you in the direction, right, of self discovery. I'm not going to tell you what your problem is. I'm going to take the information that you give me and I'm going to put it on the canvas so you can see for yourself what challenges you have. You understand? So this article here, Psychology Today, the article is by Peter Bregman. The title of the article is The Right Way to Hold People Accountable. The right way. So you may think that your approach to accountability is the right way because it's what befits you. But what about what befits the other person? Most of my career, I've been a supervisor. I've had the responsibility of numbers of staff. I've had responsibility of about 30 staff at 2 points in my career. 30 staff that I was responsible for. That's 30 different attitudes coming in each day. Today, I'll get one version of the attitude. By the end of the day, the attitude may have changed when they come in the next day, and so on and so forth, because the human being experiences so many different things in the course of a day. And you have to understand those things. You have to accept that. If you're going to have any kind of success yourself in a relationship, living with someone else is always a challenge. Working with other people who don't have your same level of education, your same level of guidance. A lot of us during the 60s, the 70s, for me, the 70s and 80s, we had mentors. People were willing to mentor us. People would take us up under their wings. We had real old heads in the 70s. Real old heads. They would tell you, leave that heroin alone. Don't mess with that. They even threatened to whoop your behind if they found out that you were messing with the heroin, syrup, pills. Now they let you come on, sit over here and drink some wine and chill out, right? We had Miss Mary down the street who would sit on the stoop and have conversation with us. We had those kind of things that we exposed to that were given to us. Much has changed. So when you start looking at how you even have a conversation with the person without getting upset, can you do that? If you formulate an image within your mind about that person, every time you see John, you'll never see John. You'll always see asshole. Because that's what you see him as. Because that's the label you gave him. How many labels have you been given for your own conduct by other people? Could you live with you? Could you live with you? For real. Could you live with someone just like you? And if you're being realistic, the answer should be no. Lost Traveler, what's happening? Wavy Boy Tay, what's up, cousin? Janet, a guy, what's happening? So you have to begin to look at yourself before looking at others. Before looking at others, you have to begin to look at yourself. See, the conscious, the unconscious, and subconscious function at the same exact time. So, right in the middle of a conversation, right, when you're speaking conscious thought, subconscious and unconscious present. See, I can have a hot mic anytime. I'm gonna say whatever I'm gonna say in front of you, behind you, but no matter where it is, I'm gonna say whatever I say. There's no slip because that's not part of who I am. That's not part of who I am. I'm gonna present to you just who I am. There's so many people who spend so much time making themselves be somebody that they're not, right? And I always talk about this, and I don't mean any disrespect about it. Dudes with the blackening and all that, looking like dolls. The vanity amongst men is higher than that of women. Higher than that of women. Who's who? Who's what? Why are you doing all of that? Scantily dressed. I don't get it. Help me to understand what it is that you think that you're going to get when you walk down the street, ass out, titties out, and then your justification is, and your rationalization of it is, well, I can wear what I want to wear. Yes, you can. Absolutely. And men need to do that. No, men don't need to do anything but be who they are. Just like you be who you are by walking around ass out. Right? But then you get upset with all the cat calling. You get upset with the disrespect. But you didn't know that before you went outside? That that's what you're going to be met with? And your expectation is what? That people change? No. No. You have to ask yourself, why are you conducting yourself in that manner? Why do you find it necessary to have your titties all out? Why do you find it necessary to find a skirt or dress that you got to keep pulling every 30 seconds because you don't want it riding up your behind when you know it's going to ride up your behind? Why you want to sit down and frown up your face? Look at all that you're going through because you desire to wear something and you want people to not look at you? Bullshit. You're wearing it because you want people to look at you. You want people to look at you. You want to be viewed. That's why you dress like that. Ain't no different with dudes. Why you got all this black? Why is this? Why do you look like a mannequin? If you stood still, I'd be better. I would know. Why? I'm just asking the question. I don't give a damn about it. I'm simply saying to you, if you real, be real. If you're not being real in any aspect of your life, you're not real. You're not telling yourself the truth about things. You're not. You're not. I've never been one who hung up like posters of like recording artists and all that kind of stuff. And I never did any of that. I never walked around and trying to imitate anybody. In my music, I don't try to imitate anybody. I do me. The greatest artists were those who did themselves, who didn't just follow along. Everybody tried to sound like Lil Wayne. Everybody sounds the same. Why? Because that's what the industry wants. So what about you as an artist? What do you want as an artist? Oh, they paying the bill. They ain't paying no damn bills. Let's stop. Let's stop. See again. Be real. Why are you not being real? Beanie Siegel told us a long time ago about the industry, and nobody paid attention. Nobody paid attention. You think you're getting Class A diamonds, and you're not. They're not even in class. They're in preschool somewhere. You think that you're getting this. You think that you're getting that. You want to be whining and dining. You want to be, dropping these gold bottles and all that stuff. And then when they get paid time, oh, well, wait a minute. You did this. We had to pay for this. We had to pay for that. We had to pay for all the stuff down here. It's only a chosen few, and they are enslaved, and they know it. A lot of artists started coming out and talking about what's happening in the industry, yet they stay. A lot of the artists came out and started talking about stopping the violence, yet they portray it all the time in their music. So when we're talking about looking at the right way to hold people accountable, we have to include that in our daily life as well. The mayor over there in Chicago, what the hell is on his mind? And I'm not talking about thought. He has to have something else. But I'm just saying, when you look around you and you have an opinion on how somebody else does something and you don't agree with it, look at how you disagree. Because the way you disagree about that particular person is the same way you're going to disagree about another person who displays a similar behavior. And you have to ask yourself, why is that energy to be expelled so important to you? Why is it that's where your energy goes to? Why do you gravitate towards judgment quicker than anything else? And then in the same breath, call yourself a believer. Again, the enslavement of religion, right? Anytime you're part of any group, you have to operate and function within the parameters of that group. Outside of that is forbidden. I don't want anybody. Listen, I was never a part of a gang. I ain't let no other dude tell me what to do, what not to do, and if I don't do this, I get that. No, I'm gonna deal with this now. I roll solo, and I can ride solo. My point is, if you are focusing on other people, you will never see yourself truthfully, and you will continue to ride that boat until the bottom falls off. So let's jump into the article. So the article again is the right way to hold people accountable. So let's get into it. Right? Accountability is not simply taking the blame when something goes wrong. It's not a confession. Accountability is about delivering on a commitment. It's responsibility to an outcome, not just a set of tasks. It's taking initiative with thoughtful, strategic follow through. And it's necessary at all levels of the hierarchy. Executives high on the organization chart can't really be accountable unless the people who report to them also follow through on their commitments. This is a struggle, of course. I have seen leaders direct, question, and plead. I have seen them yell, act passively aggressive, and throw up their hands in frustration, all in the service of holding people accountable. Now, like I said, this is psychology today. This is focusing on, the leadership roles and how you hold staff accountable. Same premise. Accountability is accountability, right? So let's go on down. And so it says that none of that works. Getting angry with people when they fall short is not a productive process for holding people accountable. It's almost always reduces motivation and performance. So if you take just that little snippet there and you apply it to any relationship that you're currently in and ask yourself, when things are not going good, they're not going great, or there's been a shift from good to bad to whatever, ask yourself what changes you saw. What changes did you see in your partner? What changes did you see in yourself? Why was there a change for you? Because you can't speak for the other person. You can only see the change in their behavior and attitudes toward you. How did you feel about that change? What did you do about what you saw? See, people who don't want to be accountable, right? Because if you're in a relationship, you're married. That's a commitment. That's a responsibility. Understand? Responsibility and accountability are two entirely different things. Your responsibility as a husband, your responsibility as wife, comes with a prescription, right? You obligated. Your task, your responsibility is to treat this person not good, great. You chose that person. You now have the responsibility. When you take her hand, you have taken her hand into yours because you took her hand from her father. You have taken the responsibility to fulfill the duties that her father would be doing for her. Whether it's happening or not doesn't matter. Whether they're deceased, it doesn't matter. When you take that person's hand, that is now your responsibility. That is now your duty. But you have to be held accountable for what you failed to do. You don't marry a woman and then turn around and go do all kind of jackleg stuff and then call yourself married, call yourself responsible. You don't do that. When you're called on your stuff, you become passive aggressive. You become aggressive. You become loud and boisterous. Why? These are methods of avoiding accountability. So the whole thing of being accountable is I did not fulfill my role. Yeah. I did not fulfill my duties. What am I going to do about changing that? What am I going to do to act in accordance to the agreed upon, right? The agreed upon, because when you get married, you have things that are outlined, depending on who did the service. But there's also things that are in Scripture, regardless of what the Scripture is, whether it's Old Testament, New Testament, Torah, Quran, it doesn't matter. There's a prescription there. You take this prescription, and there's a good chance that this is going to be successful. So you didn't do that. So, in how you move someone towards accountability, here's the steps that it talks about here. First thing is clear expectations. The first step is to be crystal clear about what you expect. Crystal clear. Crystal clear is not what you get on social media when you're running through your feeds. What you get is the moment people want you to see. They don't show you what preceded the event, what proceeded the event. All I want to do is go viral. I want you to see where this police officer beat the crap out of this dude. That's all you're going to see. You're not going to see the history this dude has with law enforcement. You're not going to see the shenanigans he did beforehand. You're not going to see what happened afterwards. You're not going to see any of that because that's so being crystal clear is important. Most people don't want to hear crystal clear because they think you're talking down to them. You're talking to me like I'm stupid. No, I'm being very clear on what my expectations are of you in this relationship. When supervising staff, I make it clear. Do you know this? Can you explain to me 65D30? Can you explain to me in your application and what it is that you would do as a clinician? Tell me about this. Tell me about that. I'm asking you questions. So then when I call you into the office and I'm asking, well, what happened here? You're acting like you don't even know how to do it. You want to sit down there. You don't want to be accountable. You want to sit in front of me and you want to tell me, oh, y'all didn't train me, this, that, and the other. I've never said anything like that to any employer. I told you I could do the job. I broke down the whole process of treatment, gave you my full understanding, used verbiage that was important. to articulate the process of treatment. I don't go in and say, "Oh well, I didn't write it this way because y'all didn't teach me that way." That's not accountability. How about you lie? How about you don't put forth a true effort at excelling at what it is you do? How about you just want to help people, but you've never taken the time to internalize, to saturate yourself with the content of the material that you got in school? You sold it all back because you don't need it anymore because the outcome desired for you was to get the degree, not to save lives. See, there's a difference. You understand what I'm saying? There's a difference. You wanted the degree so you can make more money, so you thought, right? So you can get that job, but then you don't even know how to do the job. You're still up here in the terror dome treating people. You don't even have a theorist that you follow so you understand how that theorist did it, and this is what you apply. Was it Beck or Ellis? But who were they? Well, David, they're not Hall and Oates' cousins. It's things like that. So when you enter into a relationship with somebody and you don't set clear expectations, it's on you. Right? It goes on back to the article. This means being clear about the outcome you're looking for, how you'll measure success, and how people should go about achieving the objective. So we got together, went out, came home, got together, had sex, unprotected sex. I get that call. I'm pregnant. I don't want to keep it. I want to keep it. Is that the desired outcome? Did you want to go out and meet somebody and have sex and get pregnant? Did you go out, have sex with somebody and impregnate them? But the desired outcome was just to get a nut. Let's be real about this. You didn't want to get a baby. All you wanted to do was come. Now here you're in this situation, right? So you want to take the life. You want to take the life of a child. Because that's just what you did. You're pregnant now. So, oh, well, no, man has established some parameters, some guidelines that say, well, it can't be for this point. It can't, well, after this, and then it's no longer this. You play that game if you want to. Conception is conception. When that thing puts a plus, you have a baby. You have a life inside of you. That's a life inside of you. That's why it's positive, right? And you can't even see at that point. It's positive, right? But anywho, so it says this means being clear about the outcome you're looking for. Who has ever been clear on a first time hit? I want a baby. Who? So again, this is about accountability. This is about you looking at you and looking at what you do to reek of unaccountability. Because there was no accountability on either side if you got pregnant and that wasn't the desired outcome. Outcome. Right? So you were looking for that? No. So how did you get there? How did you get there to have impregnated somebody? To have gotten yourself pregnant? How did you get there if that wasn't desired outcome? How you measure success? How the two of you get there? How are you going to measure that this relationship is moving forward? That the things that I seek to have out of this relationship with you are beginning to come to fruition. Where's the measuring stick? Because in most cases, the measuring stick was where it all started. And that's why you're stuck. That's why you're still there. So You didn't have the outcome, even without a pregnancy. Okay, we're together now. It was good. We're together. We're doing it again. And we do it again and again and again and again and again. But there's never a conversation about a desired outcome. Where are we going from here? What's happening here? What are we doing? Oh, what am I doing? Yo, you want to ask me, so what are you doing? No, ask yourself, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Ask yourself that. Don't try to avoid accountability. Oh, well, you've been coming over here regularly. I mean, I just thought that maybe we was real, and I hear you walking down the street with this other girl, and hear you with this other dude, and this, that, and the other, and everybody's confused. But all y'all was doing was smashing each other. There was never any conversation about we're in a relationship. Now somebody thinks we're in a relationship. Now somebody is hurt because they never had the conversation because they expected me to have the conversation, or they believe that this conversation already happened when we got together. That was the conversation. So nothing is said. So what did you think a desired outcome was going to be when you never had the conversation about what it is that you wanted? And if that's really what you wanted, how did you find yourself in this position here? I'm just saying. And how people should go about achieving the objective. What is the objective? The objective is not that we're going to get a house with a white picket fence, two dogs, have three children. That is not how you reach the objective. Because if I can't take care of none of those things, if I can't manage none of those things, if I have not demonstrated to you that I am capable, why the hell would you be planning for those things when we won't be able to keep it? Maybe never get it. The objective is to have a solid foundation between the two of us. Communication, respect, loyalty, all those things have to happen first. And a lot of times it don't even happen out the gate. It don't even happen out the gate. And now you're in it. Back to the article. It doesn't all have to come from you. In fact, the more skilled your people are, the more ideas and strategies should be coming from them. Have a genuinely two-way conversation, and before it's over, ask the other person to summarize the important pieces, the outcome they're going for, how they are going to achieve it, and how they'll know whether they're successful to make sure you're ending up on the same page. Writing out a summary is a good idea, but does it replace saying it out loud? Real important piece to understand here, right? This relationship is a two-way street, right? It's always going to be about learning, right? I'm going to do my part. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And that was one of the things that I experienced in my previous marriages, right? Whereas I was the one, I felt like I was the one who was working on himself. I was the one who self disclosed. I was the one who would take ownership for things. I was the one who would be apologetic if I clapped back, even though I was right, because I got pushed to the point of like, yo, I've been patient with this and patient with this and patient with this, but we keep coming to this, right? But still, my clapbacks, valid or invalid, doesn't matter. But my point that I was making was that when things are going to the left and it's only one person that keeps taking stuff on the chin, I keep being patient. I understand that you have some unresolved, but the unresolved is your problem. My job is not to heal you. Y'all got this twisted with this sexual healing, and you're supposed. No, I'm not supposed to heal you. I'm supposed to be an accent. I'm supposed to accentuate that which you have within yourself. That's not my job to fix you. Again, clarity or expectations. Right? When you see things come up, when you see those red flags, say, babe, I think, have you ever considered some level of counseling? I'm a clinician. I'm not counseling my spouse. Again, clear expectations. If you are expecting me to fix you, that's that's where the problem begins for you. For you. And you have to have direct, clear conversation about these kinds of things. I'm telling you from experience. I'm telling you, if you don't have a clear cut conversation, right, about these kind of things. What's up, educator? Maurice Brown, what's happening? Abby, Master Wu. If you don't have a clear conversation on what the relationship looks like for you, right? And what the objectives are for you to be able to see. Because I got to tell you what I'm looking for. I got to tell you what I'm looking for. But there are some people who become comfortable. They're complacent. I have just what I wanted. I have a good man. I have just what I wanted. I have a good woman. I'm good. I don't need to do no work on myself. They're going to love me for me. Bullshit. Stop playing games. Stop playing games. Stop believing that somebody's going to take your mess. Stop believing that you're going to continue to live your life day in and day out with me and continue to be engulfed in drama because you don't want to confront your unresolved. That is not going to happen. And you shouldn't expect anybody to do that. And that's what I mean about understanding the conscious, the subconscious, and the unconscious all present at the same time. You have to be conscious of the fact that you are literally sitting here telling somebody consciously that you expect for them to accept your bad behavior. You're saying it consciously. So you know what exists. Listen to what I'm telling y'all. You can't take a person from where they are to where you want them to be or where you think they should be or where you think it would be better for them. They are where they are because they choose to be there. And I'm talking about within. Like I took a person from living in a duplex to a home, a house. Yeah, didn't matter. That didn't change their condition. I did a variety of things that I thought would make a difference in the relationship. Let me help you understand this. You can't love it away. You can't sex it away. You can't gift it away. A person is who they are. They will continue to function in that capacity forever. If you don't like it now, you ain't going to like it then. Move on. You will never change that. If you still find yourselves arguing and debating about the same thing, even after numerous of conversations, there's a difference between a conversation and an argument. For those of you who don't know, some of you argue and think it's a conversation. When you sit down and you have a conversation, a heart to heart conversation about how this particular area is destroying this relationship, and it continues to happen, move on. 5 years, you'll still be having that same confrontation. 10 years, you'll still be having that same confrontation. Now you want to get out. You have spent 10 years with this person arguing about the same thing, and it still presents. They're not going to change that. They're not going to change that. No matter the circumstance, it will rear its ugly head again and again and again, regardless of how frequent it happens. It can happen once every year, every couple of years. It will be the same outcome. Duchess, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. It's going to be the same outcome. It's not going to be a different outcome. You can't make a person be any different. You can't listen to what I'm saying to you, man. You can take him around the world. You can take her to Paris, to all the places that were in her dreams. When you come back from that trip, you will see that the actual trip is the one in this relationship because she came back the same. I didn't say she wasn't grateful. I didn't say he wasn't thankful. They're going to come back the same. You thought doing that was going to change the course of the relationship. The person doesn't desire to get any better. They're satisfied. They're comfortable. They're complacent right where they are with you because all they wanted was you. No, the you that they conceptualize in their mind, not the you who you are. They only wanted you. All I need is a husband, and life will be great. All I need is a wife, and life will be great. My family will love me, right? They'll see me through a different light, but you're still crazy as hell. You still haven't changed. You wanted a wife, but you didn't want to be a husband. You wanted a husband, but you didn't want to be a wife. Hold on. TikTok wants to always does this. Y'all know I can't do this. Line this up and line it up. I have enough problems lining my damn eyeglasses up. You understand what I'm saying? There's a difference between wanting a wife and wanting to be a husband. You have to want to be that and prepared for the other. Like it says in the Bible, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. It didn't say he who finds a fine woman, a big booty girl, right? Everybody ain't a wife. Everybody ain't a husband. He who finds a wife, that means this person has prepared themselves. That means this person has embraced the principles, the values, all that in there, the prescription of being as such. And the same for husband. But when you don't know what a good thing is or what a good thing looks like, finding a good woman ain't gonna make no difference because you're gonna be the same exact way. You don't change anybody. You don't. You can hump until your back breaks and it ain't gonna whip it away. That person's still gonna get up, take a shower, and still be the same selfish, disrespectful, inconsiderate soul that got up, that came over when you first met him, and came out of the shower the same way. You are not going to change a person, right? So clear expectations. You need to set it out. This is what's going to be for me. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I want to have. This is what I want to have. And you have to measure it along the way. But you can't put yourself in the position where you impregnate somebody or you get pregnant, but that was a desired outcome. Listen, when people say that you do this, listen, let me say there's no such thing as an unintended pregnancy unless it's rape. If you have an unprotected sex, what do you think will happen? Hell, at 61, I thought I was done. Here I got another one. But I'm just simply saying that you think that you're having unprotected sex, but you don't want any children, and that it's okay to strip your spirit of a gift. It's okay to have a conversation to tell her to terminate it because you married and you don't need. It's life in them seeds. Number two, clear capability. What skills does the person need to meet the expectations? What resources will they need? If the person does not have what's necessary, can they acquire what's missing? If so, what's the plan? If not, you'll need to delegate to someone else. You can't do the job. I need to get somebody else to do it because I need to get it done. For me, my boss, my job is to make my boss look good. Not myself. My boss reports to somebody else. I want my boss to sit in front of their boss and have a good conversation about where this thing is going. I got some pretty damn good bonuses every year. Really nice bonuses and stock options before I retired. They took care of it. But my job, see, my mindset is different. I'm not trying to make myself look good. I do my job. Not my job based on parameters established by the company. Mine by given by God. That's the difference between obeying God and believing in God. I'm not talking about being no holy roller or being self-righteous. I'm simply saying that there's a difference. For your personal growth and development, you can believe in any damn thing you want to believe in. But if there's no obeying along with it, that's a waste. So, what skill does that person need? If we get together and we just have sex, what skill were you looking for? If you're desiring to have a good father, a good mother in the life of a child, how does having sex establish that when it's with a person who doesn't show that they have the ability to do that? He don't even go see his other kids. He denied them all, and now you're pregnant. But where did you see the skill present before you had unprotected sex? Same way for the male. Where did you see this whole maternal thing that she had going on when all you did was had sex with her? Accountability. Where is your accountability? So when I see a parent bashing another parent because they never prepared for this to be the outcome, they just wanted to get that nut. And you got that nut. And many of you get real nuts, right? But it's a choice you made. So why beat up on me? Because you want to make yourself look good to the child. You don't want the child to know you. That's why the child doesn't know themselves. And when it comes time to confronting themselves and coming to know themselves, they don't know themselves because you don't know yourself. So nobody knows. Nobody knows. You're connecting with people who don't have the capability. You're connecting with people who don't have the potential. You're connecting with people and you're blaming them for the outcome that you knew was going to be because you saw it. You saw these red flags. Incapable, 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 incapable. It was like watching Lost in Space. Trump. What is it? But the robot used to say all the, what I'm talking about. But it's what you see the red flags. But I know I can wind up being pregnant by him. Yeah, I know I can wind up getting her pregnant, but this thing, right? And you succumb to it. But now you sitting down talking badly about somebody simply because they're incapable of doing what it is you think they should do. Okay, wait a minute. All right, wait a minute. Hold on, y'all. Baby got to go pee. Got to get her. Hold on. Don't go nowhere. Come on, let's go. Okay, we're just about that hour, so that's a good thing. So anyway, what I'm saying to you is that it's time to let some stuff go, right? It's time to be accountable, especially for those of you who have children between yourselves. It's time to be accountable. Yeah. There's a lot of our children out there who need to be free, right? You hold the keys to their freedom with your lies, with your deception, because you spent so many years making yourself look good and making other parent look bad. That now the child sees the other parent as being bad. They can't get through that. They struggle in so many areas in life because of your behavior that you don't want to take accountability for. You want to keep pointing fingers the other way. It's time to let that go. It's time to free your child. And only you can do that. How do you see your child suffer? How do you sit in front of your child and still to this very day, 20, 30, 40 years later, still tell the child lies? How do you do that? And still nestle your head into that posturepedic pillow. How do you do that? Your child is suffering. You know how much freedom that child could have if you go to that child and say, listen, baby, what happened between me and your dad wasn't exactly as I told you. Wasn't what I told you about your mother, was not entirely true. Who cares? Your child does. I'm just trying to tell you. Listen, we got through two today. We got two more to go through. We'll follow up next Saturday at 7 o'clock. And just remember that Daddy's Right Here Live has moved from 10 a.m. every Saturday morning to 7 p.m. every Saturday evening. Claire Levine, what's happening? Armando, Lester, what's going on, y'all? Thanks for tuning in. So, just take a look at some of the things that I talked about tonight. And it's about your freedom too. People keep saying that clothes make the man. Nah. I'd never load up my closets, my stand with my shoes with designer things. I don't see the need for that. I'm balding. I'm 65. I'm gonna do what I can with it. Some days I cut it all off. Some days I'm good with it. But I embrace my existence. Again, I just turned 65 September 29th. Right? I'm in great shape. Great shape. My doctor even told me I was in great shape. I'm not on any medications. I'm not on pressure medications. I used to be. I cut some things out of my life. I'm in great shape. Just started back my workout routine in my gym. Right? You need to free other people. And sometimes you may need to be the one to leave instead of keep falsifying, fraudulently presenting yourself to somebody who you don't truly love. Because you can't accept them things. But instead of beating up on them, instead of leaving, you continue to stay there and beat up on them. That's not right. Do you beat up yourself for what you continue to do? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, but that's just how things happen sometimes, man. And people just don't want to like say it's me. I need to fix this. I need to do something different. I just, hey man, I've always been that guy, man, to self disclose and then turn around and find myself like on the other end, like not getting my needs met. I said that's over. We ain't doing that no more. We ain't doing that no more. But listen, y'all can be doing anything else on a Saturday night. Just sitting here listening to my mouth, but here you are, and I so appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in for Daddy's Right Here Live. I'm your host as always, Sabir Aleem. Make sure you go to aleemforyou.net. Make sure you look for us in. We're coming to Instagram. We're coming to TikTok. We're in shop. If you do online, you know what shop is. Listen, you're going to see us all in your feeds, man. Check us out. Aleem for you. Make sure you also check me out. Check out my music, Sabir Aleem. You can find me on any streaming music platform, any of them. Pick one. Just pick one. Lester, thanks for tuning in. Claire, but Thank y'all, man. I'll see you next Saturday, 7 o'clock. Uh, this was from this one of the releases from my last album lineup. I want you to hear the next one. Here you go. This was my favorite one off the album.
Electronic.
No, I want this one. Here we go. All right, here y'all go. The name of this song is Books. Y'all have a great one. I never sought religion. I'm not of the lost and found. I'm searching for the path of peace, finding man hills abound. Long ago, touched by an angel, I was clutched. Early childhood trauma, the devil was running amok. I'm grateful to be blessed, far from holly favor. Just one of many who strives to serve and labor. Room to be a man, so many examples. Most misled, regurgitating others like samples. Self-professed leaders, lots of opinions. Wanna be servants of God, mankind, minions, mankind, minions, mankind, minions, mankind, minions. Woo! What's going on? The new album coming November. The books make for great reading, filled with many stories, trials and tribulations of man and God in all his glory. Man made man religion, he was the follower of none. Many gods does man serve, know that there but one. Narratives of the divine, signs and symbols wrong with pride. Those not equally open fires say cannot hide. The words of God lifting, providing man with guidance. So many unanswered questions, yet they all sit in silence. Room to be a man, so many examples. Most misled, regurgitated others like samples. Self-professed leaders, lots of opinions. Wanna be service of God, mankind, minions. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Heavy Chevy, what's going on? Listen, I'll be seeing you sometime this week also to take you through our shop so you can see what it is we do here. The link for you. Check out our merchandise. The song you're listening to is Book from my latest album, Line Up. The upcoming album, Gods in a Man's World. Make sure y'all check it out. Woo! This is a 10-minute long song. You will not hear 10 minutes of it today. In God we trust, man surely serves it well. It should really breed mankind go to hell. Materialism, power, and lust, things money can buy, but it won't get you into paradise. I'm sure many men would try. Bearing his name on paper, another of man's illusions. Figured if you saw it there, religion would form the union. Room to be a man. So many examples, most misled, regurgitating others like samples. Self-professed leaders, lots of opinions. Want to be servants of God, mankind. In your hand. It's that salsa song. Now the salsa, this is the hit. This came from a line up. The album is really a line dance album. So every song on there is like 8, 12 minutes long. So listen, once again, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Daddy's Right Here Live. I am your host, Severe Aleem, and we will see you. I will see you next week. Yeah, for another episode of Daddy's Right Here Live, part two of Accountability. Y'all have a great one. Peace.